Hi, I'm Sue from the Skokie Public Library. I'm working at home in my little studio, and I'm here today. I'm going to show you how to make a card for Father's Day, a little simple pop-up card. So here's one of them. It says, "Dad, you're such a fun guy." And I made this little mushroom and it's on a pop-up. And then here's another idea is, "Dad, you're such a cool guy." And I put a little ice cream bar here. But you, of course, could put ice cream, ice cubes, or even an ice cream cone. And one that I'm going to make now is going to be called, it's going to say, "Dad, you're one in a melon." So I'm going to tell you, the things that you need are, you're going to need a glue stick, scissors, maybe some colored pencils or markers would be good, or you could even use crayons. I have some construction paper that I made these little things that are gonna pop up, but of course you could just draw and do your own thing on the front. The most important part about this whole project is the paper that you're gonna put it on. I do not have cardstock at home, so I found these old files that I'm using, and actually it's a great weight for the card. But if you don't have something like this, and you probably have something like this, which is the paper that you find in your copier, but this would be too flimsy. I would suggest that you take two pieces and glue them together like this. And what you're going to do is you take the glue stick and you go around the edges up and down and the other way, and then you press it together. And that's a much better weight. The envelope I'm using is 5 by 7, and what I had to do is you have to cut your card if you're going to put it in an envelope at least a 1/4 inch smaller than the envelope. So you can see what I did here. The first thing you're going to do is you fold it in half, and don't forget you have to do two sides, not just one, to have your fold. You fold your paper in half, and you're going to go down the seam or the fold one way, and use your nails, and then I always flip it open and do it the other way. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go close to the middle, and you're going to cut about a 1.5 inch line straight up, and then go over a little bit and cut about the same height, about 1.5 inches. And now I'm going to take this tab that you've made, and you're going to fold it forward and press down on that seam. And then you're going to go back the other way and press down on that seam. Okay, now open up your card, and you're just going to pop it through. All right, and press it down. This is another time you can just press down, and it makes like a little chair. And all you're going to do now is you're going to glue your little graphic on here. So for the one that "Dad, you're one in a melon," I'm going to take a piece of green paper, and I'm going to cut a triangle, and I'm going to round the edges like a watermelon, right? And then I'm going to take a red piece of paper and cut that also into a triangle. And we have to round those edges because watermelon is not square, right? And take your glue stick, put it on here, put your piece of paper on there. So now you have the edge you want, or the end of it. Flip it over, and you could just cut it, trim it out. Voila, you have your watermelon. I like to add a few seeds. So those two, are triangles with rounded edges too, right? Whoops, I'm saying that again. Those are kind of regular, aren't they? So maybe we'll put one in over here just to mess it up a little. It's a little different. Okay, now the most important thing, or two important things at this point, is that your graphic that you're going to put on doesn't go past this seam right here, because if you do that, it's going to bend and be on the bottom. So you're going to glue it above. And the other thing is your graphic can't be too big, because when you close it, you don't want to see it over here. It just takes away from the surprise element of it. So all I'm going to do is put some glue on here, put my graphic on, right, like this. All right, and press it down, that's nice. And there, my graphic's there. Now the reason why I have a pencil is I can now write my words on here, and I'm going to say you're one in a dot, 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 right? And it's good to do it in pencil, because then if you make a mistake, like in spelling, or you can't see because of the where you placed it, you can move it around a little. And now, because I like what that looks like, I'm gonna write it in marker so it's easy to read. And I'm going to do this right here. Okay. Put a little dot on my eye. I'm going to let this dry for now. Another thing that I like to cover this up. You don't necessarily need to do that, but to me, I don't like how it kind of takes away from the surprise. So I cut a piece of construction paper, and I'm going to glue it on top of that. And again, my construction paper wasn't quite long enough to cover the whole thing, so I cut it so there's a border, a pretty even border all the way around. And what I do is I line up the seam, and quickly I'm going to glue this. And I only glue 1/2 at a time, because of the width of your paper when it's folded. That little gutter sometimes will take up a lot of the paper. So it's good to do one side at a time, and then you won't have issues with bunching up, or being too tight. All right. And now I've got my card, and all I'm going to do is write Dad. And again, I would do it in pencil. I'm going to say Dad on the front. So let's do that. I like how that looks, but I want it so you can actually see it. And around, and around, and up and down, and around. Right, and all of a sudden I was afraid. And okay, you could play with this until you get it exactly how you like it to look. It's always nice to put a little thing on the bottom, like handmade by Sue or whatever, or not a Hallmark card would be cute. And all you have to do then is just put it in your envelope and you're set.